Welcome back to our channel, and this is a video on how to build a PC. Just off the top of the bat, you can see that a CPU, a cooler right here is still installed, and it's on a tilt. We're going to leave that as is. We're going to leave it installed because I don't have any of the thermal paste that I used in between the cooler and the CPU in there. So it's doing really good right now, and I don't. If I take it off, then I'll have to go and clean it and put on a material that isn't as good. So we're gonna leave the cooler installed. I'm also gonna leave the power supply installed and all of the cabling on the back, as well as the cable management. That's just because it's a long time to install all that, and I'm just going to turn the PC around to show you what's going on, and just a bit of a guide on how to build it, how to do the cabling on the backside. So right now we have our two fans, our two ML120 fans on the top. These are used, they slide in like this on this tray right here, and they act as exhaust out the top. These are our balanced fans. The fan blade is engineered to provide a balance between airflow and static pressure. These also are magnetically levitated fans, so they're really quiet. They don't have any ball bearings. They're exceptionally quiet. There's three more of those fans. One goes here on the rear, and then two go on the front to work with the radiator. So when you first build a computer, you'll want to take off all the paneling, the top, the front, sides. I've got the glass panels over here, as well as the top panel and filter and front. So you want to take those off to familiarize yourself with the case and what it has to offer and what it can do and what your options are for going and laying things out inside. Then you'll want to my box for the motherboard is long gone because I built this computer quite a while ago, so now it's just more of upgrading it over time. But you'll want to put the motherboard on the box for the board, and then install the CPU. You'll want to just align it on the socket, and then just go and drop it, and you don't need to go and push it. Actually, don't give it any force. Just go and drop it in. Then bring the attachment guard down, go and lock it in place. Then install your RAM. However, we're going to do that now because the board is already attached to the case. So RAM has a little. This is a DIMM. This is a DDR3, and it depends on the motherboard. This is not compatible with the newer boards. Those run on DDR4, and the socket will be in a different spot. And you can't just turn the DIMM around and put it down. It don't work like that. There's more pins. You've got to get the right type of RAM. So you'll just generally put it. You can look on the board, and it'll have some little words down on the board, and it'll tell you what slots to use. So in our case, it's DIMMs 2 and 4. So you just push these keys down, not hard, they're pretty light, and you'll just line up the key on the DIMM, give it a push. It's a little bit more force than you're probably used to, so just give it a little push and it'll be fine. There'll be a click when it's done, and that's pretty much RAM. It's pretty easy. Except right now. There. So that's easy. Next, you would typically install, once the CPU is down, if you have an air cooler, while it's on the motherboard, you would typically install a cooler, and there'll be a mounting bracket, and there might be a back plate, and you'll just put the cooler. You put some paste down on the CPU, and then you'll just put the cooler down, and you might have a back plate, and you'll just attach those two with some screws, and that'll get set. And then you'll just you want to lay this case down horizontally, and first put the I/O shield, which is this little thing right here. It's a silver shield, like that. That just helps you line up your ports on the backside, and then once the motherboard is in and screwed down, you'll see there's if it's an ATX board, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws to install, and you'll just see those in the bag of screws that came with your case. You'll install the motherboard while it's down, and then you'll just go and turn it up, and then you'll typically install. I would put the radiator up front. If you plan on having a graphics card like this, you'll typically put. I would advise to put the radiator. If you are water cooling, you'll install this radiator next. And by having the radiator up front, as opposed to having it more like this, when you have the graphics card, if you have one like, one second, it does not want to stay down. There. If you have one like that, that's known as an open air card, and it'll exhaust the air just kind of out in the case as opposed to going straight out the back. Those are more effective, they're more powerful, and it's just a better design. It does, however, introduce more heat into your case, and heat, by definition, it goes up. So if you have the radiator up top, then you'll be getting nice cool air into the graphics card, but then the graphics card emits more heat than the CPU does. So when you're trying to cool the CPU up here, it's going and sucking in all this hot air from the graphics card, and it's already warm. So it's trying to cool with warm air, which isn't very effective. And your CPU and the temperatures of your CPU can be hotter or higher than you would like, and can be potentially even dangerous. So I would recommend having the radiator up front. That way you get nice cool air to go and cool the CPU, and you won't really have much of a performance hit on the graphics card. That'll draw air in from basically any opening that it can, whether it be on this back panel here, or through these mesh vents here, or just basically any hole. And the newer graphics cards, the fans won't spin up unless they absolutely have to. Otherwise, if you're under 50 degrees Celsius, fans won't even spin, which is nice. So then you'll just mount the cooler. This one has a back plate, which you just attach the plate on the back of the motherboard, and then you'll align some little guide holes and screw in these screws. You put this on and put the screws on, and you want to do the screws in a top left, bottom right. Well, you want to do it in a star, so not like boom, 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 boom. You want to go this one, that one, this one, then that one, or some change of that. It's an X. That way, if you just go all the way on this one and then go all the way on that one, it'll be off kilter, and the paste between the cooler and the CPU will be an even spread, and you may run into some issues with thermals. So now you'll just grab your fans. If you're doing water cooling, then you'll want your fans, and you'll route the cable how you want it. Grab a screw, one of these longer screws, like that, and line it up. Use your screwdriver first. And once you get one screw in, they get a lot easier. It's really just the first one. So I'm just going to attach all the fans on the front and on the back here, and then I'll show you more. Okay, so the front fans are now installed, and the radiator tray up top, well, it's loose still, but that's now in the case, and the rear fan is also installed. It's kind of what it looks like. So see the fans here. They have their power cables. This is the bottom cable, and top cable here. So these will just get routed probably all the way up and then back to the fan hub, which is back here. I'll show you that in a second. Not every case is going to have a fan hub, so you'll want to either buy a splitter for your fan controllers, or hopefully your board has enough slots for fans. Or you can also buy an external fan controller that can be mounted here if you have enough space, or if your case is designed like this one and doesn't have a front slot like this, it's all sheer. You won't be able to put a fan controller up top here. You'll need to find some other way to do it. So then it's really just installing the video card, which if you just have one, it's pretty easy. Let's see here. It has a slot and it has a notch here. So, and if you look over here, it has a little hook. So you'll just, there is a break in the slot here, and there's a little bit of plastic, and you'll just line up the break in the card with that break in the plastic, and you want to put it, if you only have one card, you want to put it on the topmost slot, and with this little key open, there's a little key on the motherboard. You want to go and push that down, and it just goes and pops in. It'll make a little, and then it's in. And then you'll take your screws, like so, and just screw in the screw in the card. Sorry, not the motherboard. I've already done that. Don't use a power drill. It's too fast. You'll over torque the screws and they'll be really stuck in there, and just don't use a power drill. However, it always seems nice to have. Don't do it. So that's the front, and then you'll just connect your power cables. You'll have already gone and installed the power supply. Really, that's just a, on this case, you'll go in through the back and kind of get the power supply inside the case. And then there's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back. Before you, on this case, before you screw in the power supply, you get all your cables already attached and have them just outside of the case, just kind of going and chilling outside. That way it's a lot easier to connect everything. There is nothing more painful than when you've installed the power supply and then you find out that you need to connect 2 or 3 more power cables, and they have to be way over here when your only point of entry is way over here. So connect up all the cables before you screw in the power supply. So that's a big help. Just plug in the graphics card. There's a little key, little notch and you'll just align the notch on the cable with the notch on the graphics card, and it'll make a little sound. Well, it should. Anyway. And then on the back side, be very careful. Especially with heavy cables like this. Yes, I know. It's a bunch of cables. So then you'll typically install, and you can install your SSD on the back here, or you can put it on the drive cage here. There's also a mount for SSD on the front of the case, and you may have mounts for M.2 SSDs on your board. If it's on your board, install that before you put it in the graphics card, so it'll make it a lot easier. So then if you're installing it on the case, you'll typically route your power cable. However, I have the power cable coming out of the power supply, going up here to the tie downs, and then just going here. You'll connect your a data cable from the motherboard, which is inside here. It comes out through and then up here. Pretty much the same thing to the hard drive. There'll be a power cable and a data cable. And then these are just a nice little slip over. You actually take the mount off, and there's little holes, and then you can just align it and drop it in, and that's done. This cable's down if you want. Then we have, these are our two fans up top, and this is our fan out the back. And then these two are our two fans up front. So the ones on CPU should probably get plugged in to the fan hub. The speed control for this hub is running off of the motherboard. So any fans connected to this hub are going to have their speeds controlled by the motherboard for the CPU temperature. So in this application, we're only going to use these front two fans here. These top two and rear one are going to get run probably off the board, or maybe we'll have these two and those two, all of it on the hub, and this rear fan on the motherboard. So it's just going and lining up the pins, and just kind of goes in and drops in. If your case has a window on the back side, like this one does, you'll probably want to spend more time on cable management. You might want to run the cables on the top or on the sides, just to avoid these ugly runs of cables. So you'll typically just make it all nice and neat. However, if you have 5 fans in a small a mid tower, and you don't have nice individually sleeved cables, it can be a bit of a mess. So that's the last fan. Just gonna run this cable tie here. Whoops. Oh wait. These top fans have extensions. This one goes to the motherboard. So these front fans actually don't go to the fan hub. They go straight to the motherboard. Forgot about that. So then you can put them back in this tie down. And that's about it. Unfortunately, they don't give you a lot of tie downs over here or places to put a zip tie. So that's one boon to this case. So and then the rear fan, I typically will route that. What I do is I route it up the bottom. This application and turn it around. Well, actually, no. Let's change it. Let's have it running straight to the fan hub. That's about it. And then you'll just put the side panels back on and the filters, and that's about it. Thank you for watching this this how to build a PC in about half an hour. If you obviously it takes a little bit more time than that. If you like watching our content, please subscribe to our channel, and please like the video if you like watching this video and would like to see more, and also click the little bell icon to the right of the subscribe button. The bell icon, it notifies you via email or via push when we issue new content. Thanks.